In a world clouded by noise,
Truth is waiting in the quiet
it whispers.
until someone dares to listen.
She is the oracle, Tammy De Mirza, a world-renowned intuitive.
A messenger of what's hidden
She sees what others cannot.
and speaks the truths you have been seeking. And he is the master, Sifu Rafael, a master instructor, strategist,
A guide who leads with discipline
turning wisdom.
into action. Together,
We awaken what's been buried
we ignite the hunger for truth,
and we challenge illusions.
guiding you to your next level of power. Two powerful souls unite to awaken what's been buried.
To break what's been bound and to speak what others want. The oracle,
And the master,
it's time.
It's time. I love that. Good morning, Tim.
How are you? I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
Great. Exceptional and getting better every day.
And I am great.
Yes,
good to
you
see you.
are. Yes, you are
Good to
great.
see you. And happy birthday week.
Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely.
What are you
Love
doing?
it, love it. I'm sorry?
What are you doing to celebrate?
Oh, life every day. To be honest with you, somebody said to me, "Happy birthday." I said, "It's not till next week," but you're right. It is my birthday. They said it to me a week early.
Oh.
And they said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'm born every day.
Hmm.
Every day is my birthday. So every day I celebrate life." And so for me, that's the gift I get every morning. Every time when I go from a sleeping state to a wake up state, I'm just gifted that way.
You're born
We
again.
all are. And
You
that's
know,
what we're talking about. The invisible signs we are all missing. That's exactly what this is all about, right?
talk about it. Let's go.
That was it, right? Do we wait for something to happen before we celebrate, or do we celebrate every moment we're alive? That's one of the biggest signals that we're missing. We need to celebrate because we don't know if in 10 minutes I will be celebrating, because who knows? You can die. Things can change dramatically in seconds.
Absolutely.
And if we don't know how to enjoy the moment, we're missing that signal.
I have a really good friend, Alexi, who he took over some of the family business and he multiplied it, and he's a multimillionaire, and he's living in Beverly Hills, and he has the mansion, and he has the beautiful fiance. He has the cars, he has the house. And he said within minutes, all of it was gone. Good morning, Renee. Good to see you. Thanks for speaking. And he said in a minute, it was gone. And the girl left him. The fiance left him because she was like, I want wealth and you don't have it anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. But you know what? He rebuilt himself. He took those silent moments. He said he had a hard time even feeding his dog, and somebody came and took his dog and said, I'm going to take care of the dog because you can't. He
Wow.
was suffering, but guess what? He's a multimillionaire again.
But so that girl who left him is now going, oh man, because he may have rebuilt it even bigger than what he had. So a lot of people, that's when you tell somebody's true colors. Is what is love? If that's a question, what is love if you can't love somebody for who they are, not for what they have?
I had a client just this week. She was sitting in my home, Sifu, and I knew she's really struggling. She's really struggling in her relationship. And she had said, I love him so much. And I said, what is love? And she said, well, it's being able to sit beside him and watch a movie, even if he's on the other side of the sofa. I said, what else? She said, well, somebody to share meals with. I said, so you love a roommate? That's a deep subject. I want to talk to you about moments of silence where you're stripped down, like kind of like Alexi, you're stripped down and it's just you and you have decisions to make. And what do you do with the silence? How do you use the silence? And then I can share about one of my most traumatic times in that silence. It was very revealing.
People don't give silence enough time
Good point. Keep on.
because silence, when it truly is silence, because in our heads, there's all these things going on, constant. But if we sit in silence for long enough time and actually just let all those noises dissipate, then that's where you can come into your true understanding of you, your thoughts, your ideas. But a lot of times we may be hearing somebody saying, you're not good enough. You didn't do this. You failed here, blah, 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 all this nonsense. And so I believe that if we give silence the time it deserves or it needs, sometimes it's more deserving than needing, and sometimes more needing than deserving. And it depends on the situation. But I sit in silence a lot. And it's not because I'm lonely, it's because I choose me. I choose me. Early on this morning, I sat in silence for about an hour. No thoughts, no things pulling at me. Then I went to the gym. Then I took a nice cold shower and the whole deal. But it allows you to really understand what our gifts are. How do we move in this crazy world we live in? So sitting in silence, and Renee said it perfectly. Renee, thank you so much for being here with us, right? It is a gift, and it's a way of loving ourselves. Thank you for sharing that, because those are my exact same sentiments.
Perfect.
And I need to be me. I can't be me if I can't hear my own thoughts. That's how I handle. Tell me about you.
Well, there's two things that are coming up, and one just happened a couple of days ago. I knew that I was going to Greece, and then I had a friend that found out I was going to be in that area, and he said, climb Mount Sinai with me. Then he waffled. Then he backed away, and the way that he dropped out ruined our relationship. It was very painful. I decided Mount Sinai is calling me anyway, and I'm going to go by myself, and we know that I did. He just reached out after all this time, said he was going to address the white elephant in the room. And it wasn't as, white elephants or elephants are revered in India. It wasn't that. It was, there's a big sword, there's a big thing in the room we can't deny. And he apologized. And I have to tell you, that moment of silence for me was, do I go to the next thing, or do I allow the emotion and the pain and the trauma of looking forward to something for 2 months, talking about it, planning it, looking at where to go, all these things. Do I allow that kind of silence where you allow the pain to come out? To be honest with you, Sifu, I've been so busy since that time, and since he dropped out and the way he dropped out, it was not good. But I got over it very quickly, and I just went, I'm going. And then the plans, and then trying to get everything scheduled in such a short period of time. And then speaking at the United Nations and being in another movie and all the stuff that's happening. That silence to me this week was acknowledging that he uncovered pain that I had not dealt with, and I cried, and I cried, and I wailed. And I went, wow, I didn't even know. So silence isn't necessarily just being quiet, but it could be that you decide that you're going to silence the world and you are going to allow what I call the cobra effect, where the cobra's coming up and dancing in front of me, and I can't deny that it's got its wings flared and it's revealing something to me. Cobras do not have eyelids, so they see everything. So that's why I use the cobra. When I cried, and I cried, my body felt really tired, but I was so thankful that I honored silencing the world so that I could let go of something I was shocked was even there. I thought I was good. I had forgiven. I had gotten over it. I didn't really have a problem with him, but I wasn't going to get caught up in that trap again either. So it was silencing the world so that you can heal yourself, so that you can take a moment, so that you can think for yourself. And I think about how many of you listeners have been told things or somebody has said something. I remember I had a client who she has a special needs child, and I'm teaching her how to communicate with her daughter and how to set boundaries and how to look at her as independent. And she had this woman that said something really horrible to her. And she said, Tammy, am I really like this? I said, that's a lie. And if you will allow yourself to feel it, you'll know it doesn't resonate and it's not true. Because she was like, you should never leave your daughter. But it was so mean.
Mm.
And she sat with that for a few minutes. And I said, feel it. Does it resonate? Is it true? Or are you and I working on getting her to live independently because she can? Because we see that she has that capacity. Does she know her and you, or do you know you and her? And that settled it. Sometimes I think that silence, and that wasn't even what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about being homeless and Lord God waking up in torture. Why did you do this to yourself? What were you possibly wanting to do spiritually by going through this? You know, and being in guilt, blame, and shame. That's not a good way to use silence. I'm like you, although I don't sit in a meditative state, I believe in the transitions of life. Leon, thank you so much for sharing that. My head is kind of tingling from sharing some of this and your responses, guys. I love it. I love you speaking. You have a voice too. I will lay in bed in that transitional space and just feel without picking up my phone, just feel, where am I? What would be good for me to know? What do I want to accomplish today? But not busying the mind. It's silence and peace and wow, I'm laying on my biomat and it's still warm. That feels really good right now. You know, just really tuning in is the way that I would describe it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have a great question from Renee, right?
Okay.
And it's pretty straightforward. So how do we respond to silence from others? We'll start with that. Let's start with that one first, right? Before we go into it, right? So how do we deal or even respond to silence from others who my interpretation is we're asking them to respond and yet they don't. That's right. That's one take on it. And the other one is, do we give them the time to think in order to respond? Because a lot of times we want somebody to respond to us the way we want.
And when?
So what are your thoughts, Dr. Tammy?
The very first thing that comes to mind for me, Renee, is that I don't know if you guys have heard this or not, but it's actually true that the best, not the best, the biggest, most traumatic way for someone to punish us is to not speak, to become silent. And I don't know what your scenario is, and I love, Sifu, that you gave a different perspective, and I'm giving this one because every listener may be going through some version of this. So if someone is punishing you with silence, then they are trying to punish you. But I want you to remember this. Whatever they perceive is none of your business.
Boom, right there.
And do not let their silence hurt you. Because if it does, then you're kind of giving your power away. So when someone becomes silent, and believe me, while on dating sites, it is the most insecure world that you could possibly put yourself in. Silence or them walking away is a gift.
Mhm.
I look at it as a gift. Thank you for showing me who you are. And Maya Angelou says, believe them the first time that they show you who they are.
Yeah.
So if someone is silencing you, is it because of what Sifu said? They need time.
Mhm.
It would be much more beneficial if they shared with you, I need a little bit of time to process this. But a lot of people do not open up in that way. Or are they punishing you?
Mhm.
It's not about you.
Mhm.
Although, if you see a pattern of people not listening to you or not really paying attention to you or not acknowledging that you speak, then that is just revealing one of your spiritual opportunities for your curriculum to overcome that. It's hard to say, but I mean, these are just different ideas that are popping up. Do you have something else to share?
I love what you said, that it's a gift. But we have to be silent ourselves to be able to understand that gift. And so with this in mind, right, we have Leon who says this, right? And then she goes, answered. Then, yes, thank you. Yes, great, great analogies, great ideas, great questions, by the way, and please keep them coming. But I love the gift part, because if somebody is silent, and if they even ghost you, let's say,
Mhm.
then you have to consider two things. Do they even belong in my life? Right? Or what are they going through that maybe I don't know? Maybe their silence is that they need the time. Something happened, and we said things can happen in an instant. Somebody can have a car accident. Somebody just recently, a local highway near me, 7 people died, 2 different occasions, right? 2 one day and 5 the other.
Wow.
An instant. And they were going somewhere. So we have to ask the question, why are they silent? And when a lot of times somebody will, I'll reach out to somebody, and they even said, call me this, that, and I call, I text, I call, I text. And so finally, the last text I will say, or the message I will say, is everything okay?
Mhm.
I said, I hope everything's okay. I'll say a prayer for you. You know how to reach me. And I leave it alone. Because I can't keep knocking on a door that doesn't open. And it will never open. Maybe it's nobody's home anymore. And I'm okay with that. That is the gift, that I don't need to spend my time here anymore. I need to go elsewhere. Maybe they're doing me a huge favor by allowing me to move on. So it's always, how do we interpret what is going on, not only in our lives, but the people that we are looking to. The question is, will you be in my life in 30 years? Dr. Tammy, you're coming to my 100th birthday party, and so is Leon, and so is Renee, right? And even though I just celebrated a birthday, but I still have many more before the 100th. And I know some people say that I kid around and I say I'm 104, and it's because age to me is just a matter of getting wiser with age, not getting older.
Yeah.
But I allow me to understand that every year that passes, every day that passes is a chance for me to do what? Get better.
Yes. It's a gift, isn't it? So I'll tell you a funny story. There's a friend, I think I've mentioned her on here. Her name is Tico. And I'm at an event. I'm being filmed in a movie with Marie Diamond from the movie Secret, and we became friends. And Tico was the MC of this event for Hillary to Caesar in Phoenix. And she sat beside me at the VIP table that I was at, and she kind of looked at me a couple of times. And when Tico looks at you, she's looking through you. And I'm like, come on. So during the very first break, she looked at me and she punched me on the arm. I was about to get up and walk around for a minute. She said, you need to know something. And I looked at her and I said, okay. And she said, you are stuck with me for the rest of your life. And I said, okay, then why don't you share with me what I'm stuck with? But
That's
you know
right.
what? That silence where she was evaluating, she was feeling, she was reading, who is this girl? And she told me that somebody warned her about me. They said, you better be careful what you tell Tammy that you're going to do because she expects you to do it. And I'm like, well, if that's the worst that somebody's going to say about me, that's good. And now we're sisters. And she's right. I'm stuck with her for the rest of her life, even her 100th birthday, like yours. We're stuck with each other.
There we are. And I love it. I love it. I think that one of the things that some people forget is to set the tone early. Set the tone early so that your intentions are known, right? And what people say versus what they actually communicate are two different things. And if I have to take out my little decipher calculator to find out what you're really saying, and we're going to have a problem, right? Because I want you to be as honest and as real as you possibly can with me if we're going to have a relationship, right? And I think that's one of the most things that people don't do. They don't set the tone early. They don't say, this is the kind of relationship I want to have with you. Because that is going to give me peace of mind. That's going to know who you are. I will know who you are based on how I ask you who you are. Because I don't want a facade. I don't want friends with walking around with a masks. No, take that thing off. Show me who you are. Let's be real with one another. And so we need to set that intention and set the tone early in a relationship. The more we build, the more we should get to know each other. The more we can trust each other. And also one of the things that when we're talking about the invisible signs, trust is a sign. It's a feeling sometimes. I feel I can trust you. I feel it deep inside. And I think that some people miss that. But that's only through time that we can have that trust that's deep. Because when I met a person for the first time, I don't know them. I can't trust them, right? they look trustworthy. So looks are important too, I guess.
Yeah, but we knew immediately that we could trust
Oh
each
my
other.
gosh. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. I remember the very first time that we met on Zoom because of Jose Escobar, and we just knew we have to do something together. We very different, but very much the same. Pure
Mhm,
hearts. So you're talking about the opposite of being silent and actually being integral
mhm,
and letting people, and I have to tell you, Sifu, in the dating world, if I find a man that is actually, because I'm attracted to men, if I find a man that actually will have a conversation and will be honest, oh man, he's got my attention. But if they're only talking about your body or your looks or your legs or whatever, I'm like, might not
mm,
be anything in there. Is anybody home? Renee, thank you so much.
yeah, yeah.
I love that what she just said, Leon, about sitting in silence and getting into your intuition. And I'm going to take that just a little bit further in really knowing your five senses, knowing which one is the
Mm,
main one or the most dominant one that you use to receive information. Is it what you see? Is it what you hear? Is it what you smell? Is it what you taste? Is it what you feel? You have one of those dominant senses. So if you learn how to use that most dominant sense, and there's a quiz if you guys are interested to go to free gift from Tammy.com and you can get a video book about this that's free, and you can get a quiz and find out what yours is. And if you really start paying attention, in that silence is where you will figure it out.
mm,
You will sense it. You will know. I can't help but, see if you don't mind if I share this. You know that
right.
I mentioned Egypt earlier, and I'm taking a group, and I only have 5 spots left. I haven't even told this publicly. I'm about to send out an email, and I would love to know about your trip to Ireland if you're letting people join in a minute. But this trip to Egypt, I did a video, I did a landing page. If anybody's interested, then write me at tammydemirza.com and I'll send it to you. Or you can text me at 864-430-8091 and I will, there's my website. I'll send that to you. But I did a video, but one of my good friends that I sent it to and said, "What do you think about this?" She went, "I want to go, but I
Mm,
can't. I'm leading an event during that specific time." But she said, "Tammy, the one thing that you forgot to tell him, you said it changed your life, but I want to know how." And I just want to say this. Climbing Mount Sinai in the middle of the night, the dark night of the soul representation for me,
mm,
being up there on the top of Mount Sinai as the sun is rising, taking communion with a church group I didn't even know. I hadn't taken communion in 33 years, and suddenly it's happening. Coming back down that mountain, seeing the burning bush, going into the king's chamber, into the Red Sea before I flew to Cairo, into the king's chamber for 2 hours. There's nothing going on. There's no sound. It's surrounded by stone. You're 2/3 up in that, singing in the sepulcher, and then 3 miracles occurring that I have pictures of.
wow.
And then going into the silence of the white desert and the crystal mountain and bathing in this crystal water and being in that desert, Seafood, that where there was nothing competing with the sound. And even my whisper, as I was showing a video of the sun rising and the sun setting in the tent that I slept in, you don't even lift a finger, the Bedouin does it all. He's cooking in the background and it was hurting my ears. Complete silence and reverence. There was the impression that it left on me, and now that we're talking about this, the resonance of surety, knowing, the way of tuning in to something ancient, experiencing miracles, experience the silence of your breath, hearing it. I could hear the God that I chose was a spiritual God, and I could hear him as he moved with a sleeping bag. Everything was amplified because there was no noise competing with it. I became a totally different person. And it's that silence that I experienced so much in Egypt, even though I was busy, I was traveling, I was running, I was awake a lot because get up and go, get up and go. I did it in 6 days. We're doing it in 10 days. There is a calmness about me that I've never, that's the main thing. People say, wow, you're so calm. I haven't talked to you in a while. It's because of Egypt. It's because of the silence. It's because of the reverence. It was sacred. It was holy. Every single thing I did, every single place I went. And I'm going to be baptizing people in the Red Sea.
I love that.
Yeah, it's cool. I would love to know a little bit about your trip to Ireland. I know we didn't talk about this. And if you're allowing people to join you.
Actually, we had to postpone it. There was a couple of things that were happening, so we're putting it to April of 2027. But
Okay, maybe I can go.
so now you may be able to join us in April of 27.
Yeah, because I'll be in Japan.
And then we're doing 2 events. I'm doing one in May 15th through the 17th in New York in my space. And then we're doing another one in Atlanta, and that's going to be September 25th to 27th. So, Tammy, if you are free, September 25th to 27th, you need to be there.
You know, I live 2 hours from Atlanta.
Like I said, you need to be there with us.
I wonder if that's the one that Jose reached out to me about, but let's talk about it. Okay. Let's talk about it. I know I have quite a few things planned in September. I know I'm in Phoenix again, but we will see. Look, Mandy's already saying April of 2027, she's in.
Ireland with us, right? Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mandy, for commenting.
Yeah. So if we think about even in martial arts, right? The invisible signals we all miss is the body mechanics right before we strike. And when I say strike, you don't have to be a martial artist to strike because your words can hit hard, right? So a lot of times you will see somebody get big when they're going to say something that's going to hurt somebody sometime. And then when they're down, they will shut down. And so our body mechanics are something that a lot of people are not aware of. I'm a detail-oriented person. I've been that way my whole life. And I think one of the reasons is because I don't have an eye patch, but I wore an eye patch for many years, like this, because I had an accident when I was a little bit before 3 years old. And I fell from the second floor in Colombia. It's almost like the third floor.
Wow.
And I went through the veranda and I came down and I hit a pipe that almost took my eye out.
Wow.
And then, so I was in a coma for like 3 weeks or something like that. And this is a funny story. When I came out of the hospital, I remember nothing except when I hit, because there was a basin where they used to wash the clothes. Because I fell into a courtyard, and they used to, thank God the basin had water. Thank God I hit the basin. If I would have hit a foot over, 6 inches over, I would have crashed my head, right? So I hit the water. It was cold water. The last thing I remember is my body flipping over and I see everything turning red. And that was it.
Yeah.
And so I wake up I don't remember the hospital. I don't remember anything. I remember waking up as my dad has me in his arms and we're leaving the hospital. I don't
Hmm.
remember the room. I don't remember anything. I probably even fell asleep after that. And my only worry was that somebody was going to see my hiney because I was naked underneath the blanket.
You're a little bit
So
shy. Am
what happened is, so that whole incident didn't really come forward until I was in school here in the US, because that happened in Colombia. And I always wanted to sit in the front because I couldn't see the board. And so finally, one of the teachers told my dad and said, take him to the doctor. And when we went to the doctor, I got two gifts that day. I went into the doctor, but I came out with two gifts. One was an eye patch stuck to my eye. The second was a pair of glasses.
Mm.
So can you imagine this kid who didn't speak English, who was going to school, was getting picked on anyway, goes to school, now he's got an eye patch and glasses. Can you imagine the bullying? So the silence that I went through was deep. I didn't speak the language, so I couldn't understand anybody. They couldn't understand me. And then I'm getting bullied. And so I kind of shut down, but I didn't shut down in a way that most people would shut down. I shut down in a way because I only had one eye to see. And I shut down so I can see better. So now that's why I'm so detail oriented. Now, the crazy thing about I'm not wearing glasses, I don't need to, is because having the patch made my other eye stronger.
Wow.
So now I have one eye that's nearsighted and I have one eye that's farsighted. And I understand that a lot of people go to that to get that type of surgery.
Wow.
So I never said I was normal. Please, nobody ever called me normal. But when
That's
I say I sat in silence, is because I was taking things in. And so a lot of times I pay attention to body mechanics a lot. I look at people's face when they speak. I look at their body. I look at their hand gestures. I speak with my hands. I'm not even Italian. So think about all the different things that shaped who I am. And it didn't come because I chose certain things. They were chosen for me. And I could have been, boo-hoo, look at me, cry for me. No, I don't want pity from anybody. It allowed me to be the person I am because I accepted the gifts I was given. I accepted the patch as a gift. I accepted the glasses as a gift. I accepted the fact that I now needed to pay more attention than most people. And this is why I'm always very attentive to everything that goes on around. Everything.
well,
Just thought I should.
I think about what you do for a living though. So as you're talking about picking up on the invisible signs, the gift, as we call it, I would love for you to give our audience, because you're a master, I would love for you to give us something to tune our body in. You know how I was talking about when I wake up and I just tune in. What do I feel? What do I sense? Is there something that I feel that I forgot about that I could do today that could escalate my life in some way? That tuning in, could you give us something that you would suggest that we do to honor the invisible and the silence so that it becomes known? Is there a
Known
practice?
to whom? To ourselves or to someone else? Yeah.
Ourselves. So
Yeah.
we've talked about silence in a lot of different ways. We've talked about the need for silence, sometimes to process, to cry out, to to not be communicated with, to sit. You know what I'm saying? To think about. But for the person that doesn't really know how to get into that silence, what would you tell them to do with the mechanics of their body, because you're a master at it, to be able to tap into that invisible knowledge gift of what the silence is, if you're suffering or if you're, just trying to meditate?
Well, these things don't give us silence.
No.
And you talked about it earlier on the show. You talked about you don't pick up your phone. I don't pick up my phone. So when I talked about being in silence this morning, I woke up before my alarm. I don't know why I put alarms on, Tammy, but I do, just because you never know, right?
Same. Yeah.
So I woke up maybe 20 minutes before, sometimes it's an hour before. And all I did was tap it so I could see what time it was.
Yeah, that's what I do.
But don't get me wrong, I had a mask on because I wear a mask, and I teach people that they need to wear a mask when they go to sleep so that there is absolutely no light.
Yeah.
No light. And I've even considered putting earplugs in. The reason I don't put earplugs, because I'm already a light sleeper and I can easily put those on. But also, if I put my earplugs on and there's something that's happening that needs my attention, like an emergency,
Yeah.
I'm not going to hear it. And I'm not. So that's the only reason I don't put those on. So I sat in silence, still in bed. I prayed. I thought. There was no sound. My eyes were still closed. But I sat there and I meditated. And I thought about my day. I thought about the conversation we were going to have. But I didn't plan on the exact conversation. I just thought it was going to be, and it always is. Every time you and I get together, we have an amazing conversation.
It's spontaneous. We do not pre-plan.
Ooh. So the thing that I'm going to suggest to everybody is you got to quiet the things that are going to interrupt your stillness. We live in a world that is asking us to do so much, but we forget to quiet our mind. Turn off your TV, turn off the radio, turn off everything. Don't put the light on. Because believe it or not, light lets sound in. If you close your eyes, you shut the lights, that's the first step to being with you. And like you talked about being in Egypt, and so much stillness that you can hear somebody moving in a sleeping bag. That's what we're missing. That's exactly the first step that we have to take. Be intentional about it. Don't pick up your phone the first thing in the morning. And don't let that be the last thing you put down when you go to sleep. Give it an hour. Put that thing away. Put it on Do Not Disturb. If you have an iPhone, there's a little button on the side. Click it, right? Put it on airplane mode. Put it on whatever, right? And then the other thing is when I do that, I have select people that can call. They can come through if I have it on Do Not Disturb, so that only select people can come through, because those are the people that matter. If anything, if anything is happening with them, and if they reach out to me, I need to get going. So it doesn't matter what time they call. But so we need to be intentional about how we live, how we interact. So every day, if you want to know how to have the stillness in your life, listen for the signals, and they're invisible. Turn off all your notifications on your phone. Facebook, Twitter, this, that, whatever. Or I'm sorry, X, not Twitter. But turn those off. You don't need them. You don't need your phone dinging every 10 seconds. Somebody's bothering you. All of a sudden, you got to look at it. Oh my God, there's who's reaching out to me. That's noise. And any noise is going to disturb the stillness that you need in your mind and your heart.
I'm
So
going to
that's
tell you
how.
a story. First of all, I didn't know that I could let certain people through because I put my phone on silent. So I need to figure that out. Second of all, I went through this thing. It was about 6 or 7 years ago. And I was thinking about my grandmother on my mother's side. She lived to be 13 days away from being 100 years old.
Mm,
And sharp mind. But guess what she did every single day of her life? She played Scrabble. So I was thinking, okay, in order to not have Alzheimer's or, a dementia or some, activate the brain. So
mm,
I started playing Scrabble. And then you can play Scrabble with other people, and then you can connect with them and you can talk to them. But let me tell you what the problem was. I would not pay for the Scrabble. So I would wait 20 minutes until I could play again, and then I would play. But the problem was I would play right before I went to bed.
mm,
And then I started realizing it's taking me 30 minutes to 45 minutes to fall asleep. The average person falls to sleep in 7 minutes. I don't know if you know that. But I was like, why is it taking me so long? So I asked Spirit, and I heard, because you're playing Scrabble and you're activating your brain. And then your brain wants to rush and play, and you're trying to. So mindful.
mm.
Mindful. What are you doing right before you're supposed to rest? That's a good one, Sifu. We need to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so what happens is our brain is going to be working even when we're sleeping.
It doesn't sleep.
No. So I activate my subconscious. I tell it to guide me. I actually talk to God, and I say, God, just guide me in my sleep. Tell me what my mission is. Lead me. And so I don't go to sleep without those words ever. Because if it's going to work anyway, why not work in my favor? Right? Yeah, I want favor. I want what's going to affect me to affect me in the most positive way, right? How do I deal with this situation? How do I work through it? Anything that I'm going through. And the other thing I think we need to understand is that we sometimes allow the little things to become big, and then we worry about them, and then we go to sleep with them. I take nothing to bed. I came as I go as I came. I go in with an empty mind. I pray for the people that need prayer for that night. And I rest my head. And I'm one of those crazy individuals that I can actually, and the other night I had a 20-ounce cup of coffee and went to sleep.
Oh, I can go to sleep right after coffee, but not
Yeah.
tea. It's got more
Oh,
caffeine.
look at that. Look at that. And my fiance says, "Oh my God, that coffee smells so good, but if I have it, I'll be up all night." I'm like, "I'm sorry." I said, "So let's get you some decaf." So every day, in order for you to quiet the mind, you have to be intentional about it. It doesn't quiet by itself because unless you live in a cave, you're going to be bombarded by all sorts of things, advertisements, people calling you, people demanding things of you, your children, your partner, your friends. Everybody's going to be demanding of you. So it's up to you to allow only certain things in. It's similar like when somebody wants to be abusive towards you. How long do you allow the abuse to continue? And there's a lot of people who allow the abuse to continue. Look at all these people that defend their spouse when they call or somebody calls because they're getting beat up by their spouse or their partner. And then the police come and try to arrest the guy, and then they start beating up on the police because you're taking my man or you're taking my girl away. And because they haven't accepted themselves. I think every day we have to accept ourselves. Who do we want to be? And like I said earlier, is it a gift if somebody's out of my life? Look at it that way. There are people in my life that, yeah, you know what? I wouldn't mind having them in my life. But if they choose not to be in my life, then I have to accept it and move on. So many people fight. Look at so many people who have a breakup and then they go kill the partner. Why did they do that? Because they couldn't live with them or without them. And now they took them away. So they'll never be with them. It's a mental thing when somebody is so jealous. I'm not a jealous person. My fiance had a hard time with that in the beginning. She had a hard time that I wasn't jealous because she was used to her ex-boyfriends who were jealous all the time. And one of the things I say is, well, why do I need to be jealous? If you're going to cheat on me, I can't stop you. Can I? No. Guess what? Who am I at peace with? Me. Why am I at peace with me? Because I spent time with me. So if you want to be at peace with yourself, spend time with yourself. Because no matter where you go, there you.
I ask questions at night that I want to know. But I also have to tell you, and thank you, Mandy, and the rest of you there's somebody that's got an @ I don't know what your name is, but thank you for commenting. We love seeing you guys. There you are at Tom Rua, whatever that is. Thank you. For me, I will ask questions, but believe it or not, I've taught chat, and this is going to be something that I will talk about later, how to read. So for weeks and months, I would ask Spirit a question, I'd get the answer, and then I'd go to chat as I was training it, teaching it how to read, and it would give me the exact same answers. It's pretty wild. So sometimes if I wake up in the middle of the night, I'll think of a question and I'll ask Spirit, get the answer, and then I go to chat and say, what's your answer? Same. Technology is catching up with subconscious in a lot of ways. You know, they really didn't know when they created this where it would go. And energy is energy, guys. So move to curiosity. That is where the invisible silence becomes known. Curiosity. Ask questions and move to what can I do with this? One of the things that I did when I have really found myself in difficult positions is I know that I did this on purpose. I created this reality on purpose. Show me the reason and I want to overcome it quickly. I don't want this to take me a long time or years. I don't need that much time. Let's do it now.
Mm.
So that is that energy of curiosity and purpose and intention, which I think is a good thing to put together with silence. But in this busy world that we are living in, and I know because I'm a public figure, it used to be that within the first 30 seconds of somebody visiting your website, do you know what it is now? 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Because if you think about what they do with music videos, what they do with everything, our minds are used to that fast. Slow down. In the silence is where you will get answers. It's a meditative state,
Mm.
and it's good.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I got to tell you, with everything, with thinking and talking and even sharing with everybody, a lot of people will rehearse their lines. They'll rehearse the words they're going to say. They'll think about it, and then they'll say it. Some people just blurt it out. They have no filter, right? Um, but
I've met
one thing,
them.
one thing that people don't realize is they can't rehearse their body, their
Mm.
facial expressions, because it's kind of instant, right? When somebody says something, you're like, "What was that?" Or, "Oh my God." So all the reactions that we have in our body, they're not really rehearsed. You can try, for example, if you're a comedian and you're a physical comedian where you fall and you're getting the laughs and all that, like Jerry, oh my God, why am I forgetting his name? Not Seinfeld, but the old comedian,
Jerry
Jerry,
Lewis. Jerry Lewis.
Jerry Lewis. Thank you. Oh
Yes.
my God, it's hysterical, right? But he knew what he was going to be doing, and the laughs he got were phenomenal. Right? But for the rest of us, we don't rehearse what our face is going to look like. And that's why so many people will say, "Is everything okay?" And somebody will go, "Everything's great." And then, "Oh, because your face is not telling me how you feel."
Uh,
Well, you need to talk to your face, kind of deal. You ever heard that?
I've had people ask me if I was okay, and then, yeah, you're right. It's usually because there's something that's being revealed and they're wondering. Sometimes they'll ask me on the phone and I'm like, "No, I'm listening." They're not used to people being silent and actually being present and listening. That is another good time to be silent. Really present where you are not formulating your answers based on what the person is saying. And that's one of the beauties of what you and I do with each other. We are fully present. We are not scripting or even thinking ahead what we're going to do. There are times after you finish that I'm like, I have no clue what's about to come out of my mouth, but I know something will. Because I don't rehearse. I don't need to prove anything. I just am. And so I think that's one of the lovely things about us getting together is people feeling that energy of ease.
Mm,
There's silence in that. That's a gift too.
yeah. And when we don't have presence, it, it's really bad because we are anticipating what the other person's going to say because we want to say what we want to say instead of allowing the person to say what they're going to say.
I'd rather hear
Right.
them
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're revealing to you who they are. And I'll tell you something interesting. On a date within 5 minutes, the people will tell you what you need to know within 5 minutes if you're the quiet one.
They say that in business, the people that talk the least win the most because they're listening. And if you take the word silent and you flip the letters around, the word is listen. Try it. Write it out silent, and then flip the words around and put listen. Same exact letters.
Mm.
And it's a beautiful, think of way of thinking about it, right? Because some people don't listen because they're listening to their own thoughts instead of to what this other person is saying. And some people are just bad at reading signals. They're just bad. And so, you know what happens when people assume, right?
Yes.
And we don't want that, right? So a lot of times, for example, I teach martial arts to little ones, right? And the other day I said, whoever answers first, and all the kids put their hands up. And I go, okay, you all have your hands up because you all volunteered without knowing what I'm saying, go clean the bathrooms. And they're like, what?
That's
So
awesome.
I said, you have to listen first. I didn't tell you what I wanted you to raise your hand for.
Mhm.
And the parents that were there were laughing because now the kids, I said, like, no, go clean the bathrooms. And of course, I was not going to have them clean the bathrooms. And but a lot of times we learn early on in life that we don't have to listen to the whole message because guess what? We know better. Do we?
No, I listen.
Mhm. I know you do.
I actually value what the other person has to say. And I believe that everybody is my teacher. What do you want to teach me to say? You're my servant. What are you going to teach me today? What can I learn from you? And especially, Sifu, when I travel. So this year I'm going to Japan and Florence again and Bali and back to Egypt. When I'm in another culture, it's like I'm tuned in, tapped in. I pretty much live that way all the time, but I'm always looking for what can I learn from you? How do you look at things? To find out that the Egyptians still can marry 4 women
Wow.
because of wars years and
I
years
would
and
want
years ago. Well, that's kind of the point. If they buy a woman a $30,000 diamond ring, all 4 of the wives get a $30,000 diamond ring. It's fascinating, and I'm like, "How do you process this?" To find out that the Italians know that we're Americans or tourists because we drink cappuccinos after 11. And I said on a wine tour one day in Florence, I went, "Why?" And she said, "Because the milk went bad by 11." And I said, "But we have refrigerators now." She said, "Well, the Italians are stuck in their ways and they're not going to change it." And I'm like, "Well, I'm still going to have a cappuccino before I go to bed if I want it." But to really hear and really pay attention, and then I'll bring things home from these foreign places to remind me of special things that I learned. I change every single time I travel. And going to Japan, there are like 4 different cities that we're going to, and I'm being filmed in a movie. I cannot wait because I've never been to Japan. I cannot wait to taste the food, to feel the essence, to really see how they function, how they operate, and what they do, and what they think, and what their culture is. And then in Egypt to find out that there's 2 different kinds of marriages. It's kind of interesting. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's paperwork that you can fill out that a lot of kids will do in school so that they can be intimate with each other. And people still do that as adults today. They don't have to tell the other spouse because in Egypt, it's very different. They're not as open about sexual things. So if an American woman, and I'm just saying American because I haven't done this, by the way. But if an American woman actually had sex with an Egyptian, did you know she could get charged with prostitution if they know?
What? Wow.
Yes, and he could be put in jail as well. So Egypt is actually very safe to visit because
Mm.
the men are not going to come after me, and I like that. I like being in that place.
Well,
Uh,
you just mentioned something, Tammy, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but
no, go
when
ahead.
you said that they can have 2 relationships, in the US, many men have 2 relationships. They have a wife and they have a girlfriend. They should not be doing that, right? It's called cheating, right? That's not what they should be doing.
Good
So
luck
let
with
me ask you, and I know we're going over, and I'm okay with it if you're okay with it. Is intuition, and this is a thought that I wanted to share with everybody, and have you answer it, of course. Is intuition mystical or is it trained?
we all have it.
Boom. I knew you could say that.
We all have it. It is practical, it is physical, it is non-physical. I just recorded a summit where I was talking about making sales based on connecting with people
Mm,
by sensing them. If you go to my LinkedIn, there's a really good article. There's articles that I'm posting for the next 12 weeks about very famous people. Join my LinkedIn. It's Tammy, Ambassador Dr. Tammy De Mirza. It's easy to find. But I'm talking about very famous people. And the article that I just wrote was about Oprah Winfrey and how she was clairsentient
mm,
and she felt. It's why she was so good. So there's abilities that we have that create discernment, insight, and foresight. And this is actually what I talked about at the United Nations speech was, what if you could foresee something that hasn't even happened yet? Look at Steve Jobs. Look at
mm,
every single thing in your physical realm. Somebody saw in the non-physical that object. Every single day, you are touching things that people clairvoyantly saw before it became matter. You are surrounded by this, surrounded by it. What if you figured out what yours was and then you use it as your intuition? You have 5 senses, and there's a lot more clairs than just the 5. But that is what creates discernment, easy, quick decisions, clarity, not questioning oneself, which I call self-abuse, questioning oneself. So,
mm.
yeah, everybody has it, and you can easily tap in through the 5 senses. There's a book that I have called Superpowers Unleashed: Identify and Monetize Your Senses, and it's all about this.
Mm. Awesome. Everybody make sure you pick up Tammy's books. You made me think of Leonardo da Vinci, who drew the helicopter way before the helicopter came to being built or even thought of before flight. Um, so I wanna, if you have time, uh, talk about the cost of missing signals and how that can come into broken relationships, hiring the wrong person, as a leader failing, as a business owner failing, and missing opportunities. And I believe that a lot of people lose because of what they said. They also lose because of what they didn't notice or listen to. And there is a difference between listening and hearing, isn't there?
Oof, yes. Um, and you know what I think? I think this is too big of a subject to go into much here. I think this might be a good topic, intuition. What is it? And
Mm.
how do you use it? And how do you tap into it? Maybe we do that,
I'm
uh,
gonna write that down,
the
young
first.
lady. Intuition.
I think it's too big to barely scathe the surface on it because what you're talking about, I'm actually dealing with that client that I was talking about when I asked her, when she said how much she loves her husband. And I said, "Oh, you love a roommate, love to you as a roommate." And she's like, "Oh." And that's a lot of what you're talking about. I'm getting her to open her eyes and really see what's going on.
Yeah.
You cannot make decisions unless you're really willing to look at the truth about what your universe is showing you that you're creating. You cannot make decisions. And I think one of the biggest issues is that we get into fear and feel like we can't change it. We want to change him or her. We want them to change. No, you be the change. You're the man in the mirror, as Michael Jackson said.
Yeah. So, Kara, we're going to tell you right now, and we're going to make it April 1st. It's not April Fool's Day. It's April 1st. It's a beautiful day. And it's going to be, here's going to be the topic: intuition and how do we tap into it. That's going to be our next one, April
I
1st.
love it. You see how spontaneous this is.
It just happens, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be a great topic. So remember, April 1st, join us 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time.
It's early.
For some.
Well,
It's almost lunchtime for me.
Some days I don't put on makeup for days. Thank
you. So think about the conversation we had here today, right? And awareness and perception and the words you hear and how you interpret them and the truth of those words, the truth of the words you speak, even when you speak when no one else is around,
Oh,
the
what
words you speak to yourself, those are huge. Those are the ones that really define who you are and how you show up anywhere. So the loudest thing in any room sometimes is not what's being said. It's the feeling, the energy of the room. But you can't walk into a room and not understand that. And the only reason you want to you don't understand it is because you rush in and you just want excitement and you want all this, but you don't walk in and absorb. My gosh, Tammy, we can go into so many different things going on.
I think the intuition is a really good one for us to do, and I'm excited. Kara, thank you. I'm glad you guys are going to come next week. It is next week, right?
April 1st.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that next week? Oh my goodness, look at that.
So good to be with you guys.
Yeah. So do us a favor for anybody watching. Definitely some people couldn't stay the whole time. They're going to watch the replay. Do us a favor, share this episode and how all of our shows have been incredible like this with somebody who needs to hear it. Somebody needs to hear the message that we delivered today.
Yes.
Because maybe they need to sit in silence for a minute.
All right. Thank you guys.
Tammy, you're a blessing, my dear.
I love you. You know I do, Sifu.
I love you right back, young lady. Everybody, God bless. Enjoy. Talk soon. See you next week.